Greetings, viewers. What you're looking at is the Linux PC that I built. The cheapest PC build money can buy. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's running very, very nicely for what it's doing. I did have one issue, but that was a software issue that I'm going to see if we can rectify just by having waited for a little bit. For those that are just tuning in, this is a BioStar B450MH, which again is very different from what I would normally buy, but the idea here was to go for the cheapest option available, and that's what this was. I think altogether this build cost me $200 maximum, and most of that was on the CPU. The rest of it was extremely, extremely cheap. So, but what we're going to do is we're going to upgrade this RAM, just because, I mean, like I said, there's nothing wrong with that RAM. It's plenty fast enough. But I happen to have a kit of 2666. I know it says 3200 on the back of this, but that's a different RAM kit. This is certainly not 16 gigs. But I have this RAM kit. I don't know where it came from, but I have it. So I'm going to go ahead and make use of it. And we'll put this thing up to as high as it will go. 2666 represents the maximum the Athlon 3000G CPU that this thing bases on will actually support. So we have that, and just because I have it laying around, I actually lost it, which is brilliant, and then I found it again. It's just really hard to see. I have this Lexar NM500 NVMe SSD. I did have to change this. Like I said, I was running Ubuntu on this, but the most recent version of Ubuntu actually broke. I would get no GUI. I don't even know if it would actually boot, but I would get no GUI with the latest kernel update, so I don't know what's up with that. I think they've got a bug, again, that will have to be straightened out. But we'll give it a try. Might remove that. I'm going to leave the cable, just in case I decide to add a data drive to this at a later point. Not that I store any data on it, but having it for the separate home directory might be useful. Either way, we're going to try and add this NVMe. Hopefully it will actually take it. And we'll upgrade the RAM while we're in here. Because, again, it's parts that are laying around. I might as well use them for something. Okay, I do remember a build where I used this RAM, because you can see there the heatsink is bent. And I remember making note of that in a build video, but still, I can't remember what build that was. This optical drive is a lot older than this case. This case is 2015. It's actually the case from the computer that was sitting on my desk at work. What had happened was, I upgraded that computer and then this was set aside, and I pulled it out because I needed to hastily put together a system with a video card. So I grabbed the board out, and when I went to grab the board out, the hard drive LED connector fell apart. You can see one of the wires down there, that white wire. So I ended up just junking that, and that GPU system is going to basically be a permanent GPU system in that one case. It's just going to stay that way. Either way, enough jibber-jabber about unnecessary things, unimportant things, I should say. I've got the NVMe, removed the SSD, the Lexar NS100. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'll probably do something. But now I got to fire this up and get Linux installed. Well, that's kind of a shame. Looks like I was saying before I got rudely interrupted by a camera being dumb. Unfortunately, it looks like with an Athlon CPU, or an APU, one of the older style A10, or whatever it happens to be, APUs, you can't use NVMe, which would be corroborated by the fact that it's not seeing the NVMe. So, I don't know. I thought that would have been an old enough device that it could support SATA mode, but evidently not. So I guess I'm putting the SSD back. Oh well, I tried at least. Okay, there it is. Let's power it up. Okay, I'm going to get the keyboard, which will hopefully let me do this. Power it on. I forget which key is the one that I need. Usually it's F8. F9 on this board. Alright, I want the Realtek PXE boot. Boot Linux. Ubuntu. Latest release. Ubuntu Mate. That is what we're going to load on this. And hope that it's going to work. I guess we'll find out. Okay. Install Ubuntu Mate 21.10. You can see it works right now. I'm not really entirely sure they will have fixed their bug, but I guess we can find out. I think there's been a couple of new kernels released since. Hello. Thank you for downloading Ubuntu Mate. Kind of caught me off guard. I forgot I had the speakers turned on. And besides, this is a test system, so if it screws up, I could just blow it away and start from scratch anyway. So we'll go through the motions here, and I'll come back once we're done. Okay, restart now. At least we got the RAM upgrade, and I'm still a little bummed about the NVMe, but the RAM was the big thing. I mean, there's no sense in having DDR4 2666 sitting around when I've got systems that could be making use of it. Oh, that's neat. Wonder why it's doing that. Did it just completely destroy everything? Oh, my boot order is messed up. That's nice. So I'll have to fix that the next time it starts up. The good news is it looks like we've actually got some booting going on. But that could all change when I reboot the system. Or, sorry, more so when I go ahead and install all the updates. Obviously, I don't want to send telemetry garbage. Do not open the welcome when I log on. And we're going to go ahead and run system updates. Might as well use the latest. Well, it survived a reboot and seems to work. Just the same as it used to. Speaker bar is probably not the best source of sound, but I only use this thing occasionally for doing anything particularly important. Playback's pretty good. I haven't tried pushing it with anything super three-dimensional or anything like that. It's obviously not playing in full 1080p, because this is not a 1080p display. But, I mean, what else do you want, really? So, it works well enough. I am going to have to revert some of the last few customizations that I put on this, but that's fine. I'll do that later. It's 1 o'clock on a work night, so I should really be getting to bed. And so it is that I'm going to conclude the video with that. So thank you for watching. If you've got any comments, feel free to leave them down below. I guess you could call it a half fail, but the part that actually really matters is the part that got upgraded, so I would not consider it a fail personally.